Things are going swimmingly for our heroes, but will they be making waves? Find out this week on Hapless Heroes.
Damn it, I missed the party.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Hapless Heroes podcast. I'm Francesco, and tonight I will be your host and DM as we start this wonderful adventure. I have a wonderful cast of. I can't keep saying wonderful, so I'm going to change the adjective there.
We are wonderful.
Shut up. I have a lovely cast of characters.
We are also lovely, so that works.
With me tonight. You've heard them. Now I will introduce them. We have on my virtual left, Dave as Zero, Valen's Avatar of War.
Hello there.
Mike as Lord and Captain, Quinn Southwind.
Always at my service.
Nicole as Boris the Butcher.
Hi there.
He's back. Phil as Hedrick the Entertainer. And John as Lord Jarrell the Light.
Hans, your new friends are adorable. Who's a good frost dragon? You are. Yes, you are.
Yeah, speaking of frost dragons and things happening, last week on the show, the dragon eggs that you guys have had in your possession for quite some time began to hatch because someone asked about them and reminded the DM that this was something that needed to be addressed. So why not add it to your growing list of problems? Speaking of other problems, the summit, you learned, is under attack after Omnius, one of the Omega Project scientists, had accidentally, in an attempt to teleport you guys, switch places with Hedrick to warn you that a bunch of, the Archcleric, the Supreme Archcleric, Francis Popeson, is missing, as well as, the fact that the summit is under attack by unknown forces.
We found all this out, of course, after I don't know if we really necessarily solved anything at High Rock, but at least we didn't make things significantly worse. And that's a win in Jarrell's book.
Nope. You guys were literally you guys went there to try to deal with the crisis. You pretty much bandaged it.
Yeah.
I mean, you solved the big problem, which was that everyone, was the whole town was under some sort of dark magic influence. Right? So you fixed that part. You installed Shalandria as the new, acting archcleric in High Rock to lead the people. But the archcleric Bronson, who you guys had fought, right, and and the man who had produced the doppelganger of Jarrell, escaped through a portal, and you have no idea where he went. So that is still an active, at-large threat somewhere in the world.
Right.
However, before you guys had a chance to really investigate anything, now you're being pulled in another direction back to the summit. You guys are literally swinging from one side of the continent to the other because apparently you're the only ones who can solve any problems around these parts.
Well, this one's particularly pressing because it's literally all the world leaders, essentially. It's like if the UN was attacked by zombies. You might want to try to fix that one.
So without doing much else besides swearing, having the little swearing in ceremony, so to speak, for Shalandria, you guys began to depart. As you were departing, Omnius noticed that, the teleportation technology he had used was starting to now feedback and backfire to transport him back to the project, to Building 93. And he knew that it was going to probably do some damage to your ship if that went off while he was on it. So he dove overboard and in midair disappeared. And now Hedrick is midair diving overboard of the Overstar as you guys are beginning to sail away. So that's where we're going to open up. And Hedrick, there's this sort of loud pop, and then you find yourself transported from your stasis, so to speak, in Building 93 now to midair over the ocean.
And the boat, the south. That's not the south wind. Do we ever have a name for this barrel?
Oberstar.
The Oberstar.
The Oberstar is pulling away.
It's pulling away. Yeah, it's made it out of the docks. I mean, it's not like far from shore, but yeah, it's pulling away. So it's a swim either way. So that's where we're gonna pop in right now. Go ahead, Hedrick.
About how high up from the water am I?
Let's see. How tall is the deck of that ship?
Probably pretty tall.
I'm not being teleported in the sky though. Like I'm not as tall as the crow's nest. I'm down at deck level.
Yeah,
He
he
jumped off
jumped
the
off
deck.
the deck, so you would probably be below the outside. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I would
Do I have
say.
do I have 20 feet?
I would say probably a good 20 feet. Yeah.
Okay. That's enough time for Hedrick to see a whole lot of water.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and enough time to actually think about the fact that you're falling.
He's gonna he's gonna hum a little and tap his little drum and polymorph into a woodpecker.
Yes. Okay.
Amazing. So anyone looking overboard right now just sees like a whole three things happen very quickly. You see Omnius disappear, you see Hedrick appear, and then you see Hedrick disappear and then turn into a humming or a woodpecker. Sorry, to Woody Woodpecker. Seems like specifically.
Yeah, he's blue. He's blue and red. Not your average woodpecker, that's for sure. And maybe a little bit larger than your average woodpecker, but
I was gonna say,
certainly
that's what they all say.
curls level out at water's edge and pull up. And he just wants to double back. In fact, he's flapping now and he's looking up at the crow's nest to see if he can spot a familiar goose person.
Yeah, Dedue's sitting up there.
Okay. For the time being,
Dedue has no role up there, and we need to remind everybody this, that Dedue has no role actually in the crow's nest. There is someone in the crew of this ship that is assigned to being in the crow's nest that has to put up with Dedue just being there and
Correct.
shitting all over the place.
Right. And occasionally offering them a cocktail sausage.
I guess he
Hedrick,
is doing something.
Hedrick's familiar with flying, but he's still a little bit disoriented from the teleportation. So he's going to glide out. He wants to kind of circle the crow's nest and then land back down at the deck. What would he see if he were to like look at the crow's nest? What do you think would be happening?
Dedue's kind of like got himself fluffed out, taking up entirely too much space considering there has to be another person in there with him. He's probably napping. He's an old goose.
All right.
It's like his neck is like curled up into him, and you know,
Right. Underneath one of his wings.
And as I swoop down towards the deck, do I see the dragons on deck or are they below?
Where would your squire be? Probably still below decks, right?
Well, because this all happened fairly quickly. So yeah, they would still be below deck, kind of trying to figure out what to even do with them. I think we were talking about putting them towards like where the food stuff would be held, just because maybe then having them freeze everything wouldn't be the worst.
Or eat everything.
Well, they're gonna have to eat something. We're not starving them.
So on deck, then, really, there's nobody you know, Hedrick, just the crew of the ship, and then Dedue sleeping in the crow's nest.
Okay. Well,
Because everyone was below decks, you know, when they pushed off. And I guess Quinn would be above decks because he's doing his crazy sea getting ready to churn up his sea magic. I would assume. You gotta
Yeah,
see
I'm
where you're
probably
going.
I'm probably up at the helm.
Mhm.
You know, giving directions. Would Zero be there too?
Zero's the helm.
I'm not an
Zero
airship
is
pilot.
yeah. I
but,
was
you
gonna say,
know,
yeah. Zero is not the captain, or not the captain, but the pilot of the ship. You are the acting captain of this ship because
Right.
you are Quinn South.
Yeah. I would say I'm at the helm and I'm directing my crew, preparing for the sea voyage.
Yeah, whoever's handling the rudder or whatever.
Before you go into light speed, put your arms out.
I wouldn't call it light speed. I don't know. I'm thinking like crust speed or like water speed. I don't know.
Figure it
Jet
out.
speed.
Wave speed, go!
Wave speed. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
That's
that's
south.
probably.
I'm not Captain Planet, but
You're summoning the south winds.
exactly.
Well,
Power
Hedrick's,
of the
the south
South winds. Now I sound like
South,
Storm
really
from the
fast
90s.
South.
Hedrick veers away from the helm after he hears that. And recognizing as well that ships are made out of wood, a woodpecker would probably not be seen too kindly flying around the ship. So he wants to glide in just over the handrail and polymorph back into his human form, sliding on his feet up to the nearest, I would say, ship worker, and just say, "How long have I been gone?"
And he just the person who's just working on the deck just kind of like shrugs his shoulders because he wasn't with you guys. It's like he could have been here the whole time for all he knew. He's like, I don't know, man.
Hedrick realizes he doesn't recognize this person, and then he turns around and starts going back towards up to a familiar face, and he remembers hearing Quinn's voice. So he starts making his way back up there. If he sees Zero and Quinn,
it would just be Quinn, and the
Okay.
first mate once again stops you, and it says the captain is preparing to depart and do the magic. Do you have any business, or do you have some more wine you're trying to bring him?
"Oh, I've got business, all right. I need to get down to some business here. I've been missing for hours, and no one seems to even know."
Lord Captain, do you mind an interruption? The first mate says to you, Quinn.
Who is the interruption?
Quinn, it's me! It's me! Don't you
You
recognize the sound of my voice?
as I say, you could probably literally see Hedrick over the shoulder of your first mate.
Like still though,
It's just
who
that-
is it?
It's just like, yeah, you have your eyes like forward, right? You haven't even turned to look at them yet.
Ooh! Hedrick, where have you been?
What do you mean? Where have you been? You saw him disappear like 4 hours ago.
Where did you go?
We got a really piss poor explanation for where he went.
Right.
Though that's
Exactly.
true.
I want to know where he went. I want the deets.
Where is Zero?
Well, I didn't even know where you were. Do you really think I know where Zero is? He doesn't tell me where he goes.
All right, I tip the first mate, and then I go below.
It's a ship. He can't. It's a ship. He can't have gone far.
Wait, did you tip the first mate?
I was
like
gonna
a
ask the same
chauffeur?
What do you do? Do you just like hand him like a few gold pieces? And then just,
2 coins, 2 gold. Just say, "Sorry to trouble you. You know how it is. You go missing for hours, you teleport above the ocean. It's one of them days."
So, I mean, you walk away after you say that, but Quinn, you
So
see
you're
that
not
the
gonna.
first.
Yeah, you're not gonna tell me where you've been.
But Quinn, no, he's not going to answer the question. So he tips the first mate and goes downstairs. So Quinn, you just see the first mate like holding these 2 gold pieces in his hand and like looks up at you, and he's just like, "Does he?" Would okay, and he just puts it in his pocket.
That is the benefits of working for Lord and Captain Quinn Southwind.
He's
You're all about you anyway.
yeah.
My friends are amazing tippers.
The first mate says, "Well, I don't know. I cannot express enough how generous I am or how grateful I am for your generosity, Captain."
And you are always welcome.
All right. Hedrick, you go below decks, and I think everyone else is huddled around. Like you can hear some commotion happening, in the air, like towards the quarters that were assigned for the heroes of Tal'Duria. There's a bit of commotion happening back there. You think you can hear Jarrell's squire shrieking.
Okay. I'm gonna head that direction. Because either Jarrell, Zero, Boris, I want to find some answers.
Yeah. So
Question.
go ahead.
With Boris's, super high general perception and roguiness, does she notice Hedrick walking in before anybody else with the distraction of the dragons?
Yes.
Excellent. As soon as Hedrick walks in, Boris runs right up to him, throws her arms around him, and goes, "Hedrick, you've been gone for months!"
I pick up Boris, and I'd like swing her around, put her up on my shoulders, and walk in with Boris up on my shoulders, and just kind of approach whatever everyone else is watching. Wherever the attention is drawn, he's going to be drawn to it as well. And now he's giving Boris like the best seat in the house.
Wow, he didn't even bite on that though. He didn't even bite there, Nicole. All right. So,
now you said months, but to me that it felt like a few hours. Holy shit! Are those dragons?
I told you
everyone
it's
else is
been
huddled
months.
around. Yeah. Now, and you can see everyone is huddled around now. These two very much alive, hatched like dragonlings, little babies, and they are like crawling up all around Hans, Jarrell's squire.
Mhm.
With Jarrell just like, looking so happy for him, and Hans is looking absolutely terrified.
Now Hedrick had knowledge of the eggs, I believe.
You were there when
Yeah. All right. So the cloud
you
giant.
were there.
Right around that. Okay. Holy shit. Jarrell, what happened? I was teleported. I come back. How long have I been gone? Are these your dragons? Who's their mother? Where are they even safe? Boris, should you be in the room right now?
You would see that the back wall, like part of it, has already been frozen.
It has. Yeah.
Jarrell will like put his hand up and try to like 1, 2, 3 fingers. Try to remember all the different things you asked him. He'll say, "I don't recall exactly how long you were gone. These are dragons. Apparently, they belong to Hans." And he'll pat Hans on the back, and like one of the dragons will like pop off his shoulder and like fly back. And then I'll say again, "Aren't they just the cutest little things?" And he'll try to pet one.
It bites your finger immediately.
I don't even get to roll an animal handling on that. It just bites me.
It bites. It snaps at you immediately for trying to.
Okay.
Bite it.
But they're
You
not
can recoil
biting.
your finger.
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
they are not biting Hans.
Okay. They don't go towards anyone else either. They're just stuck on Hans, pretty much.
For the time being, yes.
Okay.
Jarrell, I was in a room full of scientists for hours, and they wouldn't make me move, man. They wouldn't let me go anywhere. I was just frozen, and then I just poofed out above the ocean, man. I just landed on deck a few minutes ago, and Boris saw me, so I brought her in. What in the hell? I mean,
I'm not
congratulations, Hans. But
On the birth of your 2 children.
I'm sure you'll have a very happy family. I just hope hope you get a long, full life there, Hans. You watch yourself.
Yeah, he's just kind of standing like.
So, what about Shelly? She's okay,
She's the New Watch cleric of High Rock, yes.
right? Damn it! I missed the party.
It was a good party. It was not a
Shit.
good party.
There were fireworks.
There were fireworks.
Well, where are we going?
And Hedrick, I will also add that among the things that the scientists who were surrounding you at the project and telling you not to move, among the things that they were shouting at you, you can also hear them shouting amongst themselves. You know, just there's a lot of commotion happening otherwise in Building 93 there, because they were all talking about an attack in Ardwall.
We gotta get there quick. Why didn't the captain just like zip us there? No island stops. No seasickness for old Hedrick.
Yeah, with that, there's
the
actually
plan.
with that there you can feel the ship lurch as Quinn's super special sea powers activate.
Ludicrous speed.
Go.
Well, that's more like it. Oh, what about your connection? Can you still talk to Valen? Does she know about the what's with the manservant there?
Are you talking about the dragons?
With Hans, not manservant.
Oh, yeah, I forgot manservant was his own person.
Wow. Also, he has a name too. We keep just calling him manservant. His name is Sven.
Right.
Fun.
He thinks he's people.
Woof.
You wish you were a scribe. All right. Yeah. What about your connection?
And if I put the helmet on, I still can't directly communicate with Valen, correct?
You haven't tried. I mean, you just talked to her.
Right. And Hedrick was there for that. Jarrell will try putting the helmet back on. It was the first time it really crossed his mind, and he had a second to think about that.
I'm surprised you took that thing off.
What do you say? Like when you put the helmet on, do you say what message do you transmit through it?
Valen, are you able to hear me yet?
You can hear almost like as much as a magic helmet could crackle like a radio. There appears to be some interference, but you can hear faintly the voice of Valen just saying, "Jarrell, there is little time. I'm afraid we may not be able to speak very much. I can barely hold back the forces of darkness on my own."
That is fair. We shall do what we can in the time that we have.
You must ascend, Jarrell. You must ascend. You must find a way.
How do I do that, by the way?
The path will reveal itself to you in time. You must access your divinity. I must go, Jarrell. And then you hear it go. Like you hear her voice like fade away.
Yeah. Jarrell takes the helmet off. I can talk with her a little, it appears. The reception's getting better.
That's good.
The reception's getting better. Wow, we're out at sea, and I still have 4 bars.
This service is amazing.
Nicole, you're muted.
I think right now that might be the only gauge we have to find if we're actually doing any good in this world. So I say we just crack on. Let's rest up and gear up.
Yeah, so just to summarize again for the party. I mean, you guys have a whole lot of problems all happening at once here. You still have what I would consider to be unfinished business when it came to High Rock, right? We had to flee, or not necessarily flee, but make haste away from there to get back to the summit to see what is under attack and what you can do to help there. But Bronson's still missing. You have some baby white dragons here that are going to be a big problem, literally, not very long from now. as well as the summit being under attack. So I mean, you guys just have like this is probably a lot. There's a lot happening right now, so I'm kind of just trying to gauge like where everyone's heads are at. Zero, you haven't said anything in a while.
No, because I don't really have much to do with the dragon's storyline here, and everyone else got to Hedrick first, so I couldn't pretend like I didn't notice he was gone.
Yeah, but you've been standing there stoically this whole time. Do you have anything? Yeah.
Well, I guess first we have to get back to the summit and take care of the immediate problem with the summit, and maybe. Well, see, Zero didn't hear the part about how the path will reveal itself, so he can't go parroting those words, but...
That's true. All right, that's fair.
Yeah, let's get back to the summit and maybe stop them from getting dead, and at that point, maybe we figure it out from there. Listen, we haven't been big on planning for the last year or so. Why start now?
So how long is it going to take us to get back to the summit?
A few days.
In that time, Jarrell's not really leaving Hans alone with these dragons. Is there a way I could do an animal handling to try to get at least on their good side?
Yeah, sure.
I will remind you that I have adult onset inspiration in the event of complete failure.
Boris is also planning to immediately try to pet the dragons once this conversation's over.
The first roll was a 17.
Okay, I mean, give me the best roll if you're gonna.
Oh no, I'm not gonna use it yet. I'm gonna stick with a 17 for now.
Okay. Well, you have to stick with it if I tell you if it succeeds.
I know.
Okay.
I figure there'll be multiple rolls probably over multiple days as I try to bond with these dragons.
You approach a little bit less aggressively or excitedly this time, and they hiss at you, but they don't snap at you.
Do they let me touch them yet?
No, they're sniffing your fingers,
Can I feed them?
and they're hissing still.
Will they eat if I give them something to eat?
I don't know. If you have it, you're not trying. You're literally just trying to see if they're gonna bite you or not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the main thing right now is seeing if they're sniffing at me.
No, just hissing.
Cool. That's a step in the right direction.
And Hans just says, "Lord Jarrell, I'm not prepared for this."
I don't think any of us really were, but this should be fun. And
Fun?
what? Jarrell will beckon Hans. Let's go find them something to eat.
I'm afraid to move, Lord Jarrell.
Do they respond if I touch Hans?
I don't know. You have to touch Hans.
So I will put my hand out to Hans
Uh-huh.
to follow me, and I'll touch his because he's sitting. I'm assuming he's sitting, and they're just crawling all over him occasionally.
He's standing.
Okay, well, then I'll put my hand on his back.
Okay. And I mean they since Hans just kind of looks scared no matter what, his expression hasn't changed, so their demeanor hasn't changed. They're still kind of hissing at you and stuff, but when you get your hand too close, but they're not trying to attack you.
All right. And we will proceed to the galley.
Okay, and so go ahead, Boris.
Boris pops down on the way and offers one of the dragons a bubblegum cigar.
It hisses at the bubblegum cigar, and then starts to sniff it.
Boris kind of shakes it a little bit, not significantly, just the way that you would shake a dog treat at a new puppy.
It doesn't seem to know what to do with it. It just kind of it's sniffing a little bit, and it rears back and hisses at it, and then goes back in and sniffs it again.
Boris takes a bite off of one end and then offers it to him again a little bit smaller.
The dragon takes a bite, and then you can see it like get stuck in its like mouth, and it's like it's almost like adhering to the inside, and it's like you can hear it start to like almost like make those like almost like dragon like tiny dragon squeals and screeches as it's trying to like it's like you can see it like like waving its head back and forth like trying to like get the gum out until eventually you hear it just rear up and then breathe out this cone of cold, essentially this tiny little one, and it freezes the gum, and then you see it bite down and it shatters the gum in its mouth. And then you see it back away from the bubblegum cigar and like hiss at it some more.
Oh, cool.
So then Jarrell would proceed to the galley. I imagine there's no Pregnart.
No, Pregnart is not on the ship. He's on the airship.
Yeah. So Jarrell will kind of look around. Like he'll position Hans kind of by a table, and then bring out to the table a chicken, a piece of ham, an apple, and a pepper.
So you're getting ahead of yourself, because the moment you start walking into where there's a lot more people hanging out, and they see your squire with 2 white dragons in tow, people start panicking. They're like, dragons aboard the ship! There's dragons aboard the ship!
Now,
it's a hazard!
As I'm within, 10 feet of them?
Oh my god.
As I get closer to them, they cannot be frightened. It's a 10-foot aura.
It's more like, okay, they see that Lord Jarrell's walking in, and so obviously the situation's under control if he's not freaking out, but they're still like,
concerned. They're not scared.
Yes. Yeah, we've downgraded to concerned now.
Jarrell will kind of wave his hand and say, please clear the galley for the next 5 minutes.
Okay, you heard the man. Clear the decks. And so they everyone clears the room.
Okay.
The chef, on board though says, me too, my lord.
Do you know what dragons eat?
Haven't the foggiest idea, sir.
Then you should probably go too.
And he just he eagerly exits. You can see that most of them haven't really left. They're just now huddled in the halls and the adjacent
They want to see what happens.
Yeah, looking into the room.
And then because Jarrell doesn't ever really even make food for himself.
No, you have other people cook for you constantly. That's why you have a squire and a portable minstrel and a person who lugs all your shit for you.
So Hans just has to stand awkwardly while Jarrell tries to make his way around the kitchen, getting again 2 different types of meat, a fruit, and a vegetable.
Okay. While this is happening, I'm going to cut the camera back to the top of the decks at the helm of the ship. One member of the crew runs above deck and starts whispering to the first mate. Now, Quinn, you can kind of, again, in your periphery, kind of hear that there's some conversation happening, but you're very focused on just controlling the waters. For you, it's doing this is almost like you've almost made the ship and the water around it an extension of yourself, and you are literally almost parting the waves in order to propel the ship forward faster.
I'm also wondering if my senses themselves almost feel like I'm underwater, so I wouldn't necessarily be able to perceive things.
Exactly. That's actually a really good way to
100%.
describe it. You know what I mean? Where it's everything has that sort of that tone to it because you're just so focused.
Mm-hmm.
But then the first mate, you can feel him tapping you on the shoulder, and you know that you told him at some point in time during this journey that. I'm not sure if we actually said this out loud, but you told him at some point in this journey that to only interrupt you if it's extremely important.
Mm-hmm.
And you
That
are
sounds
being
like
tapped
something I
on
would
the
have
shoulder.
said.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I guess I'm wondering kind of how I react to coming out of this kind of power coma So
Yeah,
to
you come
assume
out.
it's
I mean,
very jolting.
it's jolting, it's disorienting, and the ship. You can feel that forward momentum just stop, like very suddenly, as now the resistance of the water meets the ship again, and everyone kind of is lurched forward again. That includes everyone below decks.
Well, right, and the breakwater itself is probably like creating
Yep.
kind of a weird.
Yeah. So now you got to get. Hopefully, everyone has their sea legs. In fact, let's see. Yeah, everyone below decks that can get nauseous, so everyone besides Zero, make me Constitution saves, please. Because I don't think Zero would get nauseous. I don't think that was programmed.
15.
Boris.
14.
6.
Perfect. So the very aggressive movement of the ship as the breakwater is just like slamming against the sides of it, and rocking it around. You are feeling very ill, Boris.
Boris also would have excitedly been looking for food for the dragon, so I expect Boris flew across the kitchen as the ship lurched to a stop too.
So we came out of ludicrous speed.
Yes.
Like an emergency brake.
Yeah. So someone got the dark helmet treatment. That's where I was going.
Yeah. Emergency stop.
Yeah, so Boris flies right across the kitchen just as Jarrell finds a whole chicken.
Yep, and that's flung out of your hands as the ship lurches to a halt. But as it flings out of your hands onto the floor of the galley, and the dragons both jump towards it and tear it apart.
They don't freeze it, they just eat it.
They just eat it.
Okay, so they don't have to freeze their meat. That's good to know.
Above decks, Quinn, your first mate says, "I'm so sorry, Captain, but it appears that there are 2 dragons below decks."
Quinn was there. One of them
Yeah,
is.
I'm not sure how angry I am right now. Being interrupted for that. And
You're
your
not con- you're-
point is
You're not concerned about the structural integrity of the ship with 2 dragons aboard?
no, they're my dragons.
But
I like
But
how we
they're
claimed
dragons.
both of them. One of them is Quinn's.
but they're dragons aboard a
He doesn't
ship.
understand that. Like what's mine is mine, and what's mine is sort of yours.
And what's yours is also mine.
Right,
It's on your ship, it's yours.
right. It's my ship. It's mine.
But Captain. But Captain, they're dragons on a wooden ship,
Yes.
and they're dragons.
And tell me, is Jarrell the Light with them?
Yes, Lord Jarrell is there. Your whole crew is aboard, sir.
Then
I
I
am
will
just
trust
expressing.
that everything is all right. May I go back to driving the ship?
I just worry that if something were to happen to the ship while we are going at such an incredible speed, that it could compromise the integrity of the ship, and none of us will make it back to Ardwall. Are you saying that you have no concerns?
My only concern is that right now, we are now at least minutes behind our schedule. Because I have to explain to you that the quicker we get to Ardwall, the less this would be a problem.
He says, "Very well, Captain. I'm sorry for the interruption."
Now, as my first mate, I expect you to take care of the problem.
Very well, sir.
I'm gonna go back to driving the ship.
And you see him just look to his right, shrug, and then walk down below decks. Do you actually look to where he looked, or no? Or do you just resume to what you're doing?
No, I just
Okay.
resume.
Perfect.
Hedrick, he's really excited.
The ship lurches again as we've
Yeah.
reached ludicrous speed.
Boris has just climbed to her feet downstairs.
Yeah.
As the ship lurches again, Boris flies the opposite direction, gets whacked in the face with part of a chicken carcass, and proceeds to finally vomit from her previous nausea all over the kitchen floor.
Gross. Someone's gonna have to clean that up.
I'm not even going to roll for that. That just seems like that's how that would go.
That seems right. Thank you for saying what I was probably going to anyways. Okay.
Hedrick would at least notice like some of these crew being unsettled, hearing this news and not seeing the fact that these are itty bitty baby dragons, let alone ice dragons, but nevertheless, dragons.
Yeah, itty bitty baby dragons for now.
Yeah. But I mean, like you said, even though their first stage might grow very rapidly, we certainly have a couple of days.
Right, because right now they're like, if like head to like tip of the tail, only about, I don't know, foot and a half.
Foot and a half, yeah. That's what I was gonna say. Foot and a half.
Foot and a half long.
Bearded dragon size.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So he would like to get up onto the ship and perhaps inspire the crew, and he would hope that the positive energy of having dragons on board would fuel a safe and easy travel back to our destination. So he starts with the drums, and he starts going crazy on these drums. Very rapid rhythm beats going, and then he pulls out his lute, and it flies into a lead solo to start, and then finally he crescendos into this riff, and it's a hard driving riff. 1, 2, 3, 4. Evil, can't you see me? Let me start again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Evil cannot stop me. People, can't you see? I'm not just a monarch's fool. Maybe I should get a sword to fight this evil horde, but singing things to death is way more cool. I think of all the monstrous enemies I've killed, but saving deities was never one of my skills. Got it bad, I've got it bad. I'm hot for dragons. I've got it bad, so bad. I'm hot for dragons. And then back into the leading solos with a couple of squealing yelps scattered in between.
Yep. Okay, wonderful. Okay, I'm not going to make you roll a performance check because you just performed, like, actually performed. The crew is definitely, like, you can hear some cheers. And even the dragons, like, paused from their tearing a chicken apart, like, and perked up and were, like, listening to the music.
Oh, and this goes without saying, he's got the amplifier cranked. He wants the entire ship to be motivated and inspired by this.
Yeah, they feel it. The mood has gone from concerned, to cautiously optimistic.
Hedrick believes this could have been one of his finest performances yet. I mean, no, it's not a paying crowd. Those are always preferred. But
what are they going to do? Tip you or something?
Just safe travels and dutiful servitude is all I ask.
I mean, these from a group of crew members who typically have their only experience with music is a sea shanty. They really enjoyed what they just heard.
Well, and I would imagine at the volume, just hearing something amplified would draw attention.
I mean, you guys at this point just draw attention, period. Because at this point now, you are the most famous adventuring party on the planet.
Well, certainly they were aware of us, but the fact they've been with us for a better part of a week maybe a week
Yeah.
by now.
They got the first-hand experience now of the heroes of Telduria. Hatching dragons on a ship and playing crazy tunes and fixing city-sized problems.
So I'm on
Killed the
call.
vampire.
You didn't kill him. You
As I
sealed
recall,
him.
we worse than killed him.
Dedue's pretty sure we killed him.
Dedue's pretty sure of a lot of things.
Yeah. Dedu believes a lot of things that may or may not be true, but he has unquestionable confidence in those things.
Good lord.
Jarrell would pick up Boris and kind of wipe some of the puke off her face and say, Boris, I could use your help for a second. I really want us to keep these dragons, but clearly the entire crew is terrified. Would you mind going to get Zero, and maybe we could think up a plan for how to make this a safe trip?
Correction. The whole crew is no longer terrified. They are cautiously optimistic.
Well, Jarrell only sees the 4 people in the room, so...
Yeah, Boris agrees and goes to look for Zero.
Zero is on the deck, striding around purposefully, but not actually doing anything.
Perfect.
So,
You look like you're busy.
What does your mug say now? The world's best deckhand?
You know, that's a great question.
World's best
I
pacer.
hadn't really thought about it. I didn't want to go asserting my authority on this ship, but since the call is there, yeah, I need some authority, and I'm totally not just talking to stall while I think of what's on the mug.
Oh my god. First of all, if you go and if Jarrell has any say in this, it would be...
Don't worry. I have an idea, and before you say it, I want to say that my mug now says world's best dragon handler.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Boris
Wonderful.
approaches Zero and stops and I guess reads the mug.
Yeah, and make me
With your finger.
an intelligence saving throw.
Oh, beautiful. 24.
You do not believe Zero to be the world's best dragon handler.
So Boris, points her finger up to the bug, reads the words, looks at it for a second, kind of laughs and goes, well, hopefully the dragons believe that, and grabs Zero and starts dragging him downstairs.
Yeah, Zero is dutifully dragged, as a very small person would drag a much larger person with just the slightest amount of hunching and definitely playing along with it.
You probably are grabbing him by just like his one wooden and metal finger. Like this,
I was grabbing it by the mug itself.
Even better.
Wonderful.
The fluid in the mug is viscous enough where it isn't necessarily splashing out, even in all of this excitement.
And if it is, the floor's already covered in vomit down there, so...
Well, let's hope we didn't find out what dragons eat then.
So far, it's chicken.
Yeah. We're just glad they're not trying to eat the barf off the floor. That would be too
That
much
is
like...
what I was expecting.
Yeah, they're dragons. They are very clearly not pets. If they were pets, they would definitely be trying to eat barf off the floor.
They have standards and when they grow older, actually can be quite sentient and intelligent creatures.
Right. I wasn't sure if they would be at this point because they're just babies.
They are an intelligent species overall.
But they're
Which
babies.
is, but they're babies, which is why the one mimicked what Boris did immediately after seeing her take a bite out of a bubblegum cigar.
Right. They can be very intelligent, so.
Mm-hmm.
So Zero joins Jarrell and Hans in the galley.
Mm-hmm.
Is there still a huge group of people standing directly outside the galley watching what's going on?
They are watching what's happening intently.
Okay, Exa, I would like to know how the mug affects first them as I pass by coming in from the outside.
Hold on, I'm gonna roll a series of d20s here. Just give me a sec. What's the DC on that again?
It is a great question. I'm actually currently trying to locate where the sheet is. It might be on my hobby table on the other side of the room. 1 second.
I can look it up.
Oh my god.
Just the mug of the boss, right?
Yeah, but just
I rolled a series and I got an 8, a 10, an 11, 2 nat 1s, and a 14.
The 14 might be the only one. We'll see.
it's a 15.
Yeah, it is a
Perfect.
wisdom saving throw of 15.
So I rolled 6 dice, 6 d20s, just to kind of represent the group. I got an 8, a 10, an 11, 2 nat 1s, and a 14.
Okay, excellent. So I've got a few believers and a couple true believers.
Yeah.
In Mug we trust.
And now the mood has gone from cautiously optimistic to very optimistic as people are like, oh my god, I had no idea he was the world's greatest dragon handler. Oh my god, this is gonna be the greatest. We're about to be rolling into Ardwall with, well, they're babies, but we're about to be rolling into Ardwall with dragons and cannons. We got this. Now the mood now everyone's really excited.
As you walk into the galley itself, you see Jarrell sitting cross-legged. So he's trying to feed one bacon. He also has a clear piece of beef that's sitting by him and a piece of ham that he's also found while Boris was going to get Zero. So he's just he knows they're carnivores now. He's kind of pinpointing exactly what they like and what they don't like.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
also
they
probably wasting a
definitely.
bunch of food.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely seem to go for the meats.
It doesn't seem to matter which meat. It's just they like.
They like the meats better than the vegetables.
Okay.
They did try to eat the vegetables,
Yeah.
but no. Yeah, very much carnivores.
Okay. So they like the meats.
When Boris gets back, she proceeds to try to feed them like cake and like whatever kind of desserts or like candy type, childish goodies she can find in the kitchen.
You're gonna make the dragon sick.
So I don't think I heard it, although, I'm a little off sometimes. Jarrell, have you and your retainers made a roll against the mug?
Jarrell
Just
always.
because you know better.
Jarrell always believes whatever the mug says. He never questions it, so he automatically fails it and believes you to be the world's greatest dragon trainer. That's just
Dragon
the level of
handler.
trust he has. Yeah, dragon handler. That's just the level of trust he has in you. And he says to you, I really think it would be beneficial if we kept these. Is there a way to safeguard the ship so that there aren't any damages, and we can return the ship in good of condition as possible back to what was the name of the
Ardwall.
the pirates own the ship, though. The sea captains, the sea lords.
The Sea Lords.
Return to the sea lords.
Zero takes a nice, ponderously slow drink from the mug.
I feel like Jarrell and Zero are just standing next to each other, looking at these dragons, like stroking their beards and like thinking really hard.
Well, Boris tries to feed them cake. Wait, do the dragons believe the mug? The dragons.
Do they roll for it? is
yeah,
the
I
question, 'cause
don't
they're still
know
big.
if they can read common just yet.
Right.
Yeah, I feel like even though
Can
it's a supernatural
Once-
power that emanates out and is semi-independent of the actual words, that for maximum effect you would still need to be able to read the words.
Yes.
And don't worry, there's going to be plenty of reason for them to completely question my authoritative.
Yeah. I would not consider them to be the susceptible creatures in this case.
Yeah, I feel like they would be the subject matter expert on whether or not anyone specifically can handle them. But I digress as I often do. And Zero is just finishing his almost awkwardly long pull off of whatever goo is in that mug. Some of these greases are more viscous than others. It's definitely not just some 5W30 today. And makes a few more thoughtful sounds. Well, my first thought might be that we could be better served by doing some of this perhaps on the deck. I don't want to say that there's a liability issue, but and Zero leans in kind of close. There's a liability issue. The actuary would be having a heart attack right now. I wonder.
I do believe you're right. They won't fly away on this, will they?
Well, I mean, they're going to fly whether they want to or not, and there are fewer things to destroy if we just give them a little bit of space, maybe?
Could they do less harm on the deck than, say, in the center of the ship underneath the deck?
I'm just going out on a limb here, but as an expert, both very clearly in dragon handling, but also in as a lifelong veteran of an organization whose chief export is explosions, I would say on the deck might be the best place.
Okay. So Jarrell kind of prompts Hans to follow them. I'm assuming that the dragons follow Hans.
They follow Hans.
Yes.
I literally leave the mess of like bones, various meat, cakes, puddings on the floor of the galley.
Boris grabs like a handful of bacon though for training purposes as we go upstairs.
Just like you could like break pieces off like little treats. Oh my
she,
god!
like she just sticks it in a pocket, just like a handful of bacon off the floor.
Welcome, audience.
I can see it in my head now.
In our dirty
Taking
meat
a
pocket.
stack of bacon slices and making it rain towards the dragons.
Yeah. I like how we've literally turned this into like both a music video and How to Train Your Dragon Hapless Heroes edition. Wow. Okay. Yeah, you guys make your way above decks. So now you're, the top deck of the ship. The wind is smacking you in the face because, again, you guys are traveling at a pretty nice clip here. You can see that the dragons are, having to like kind of dig their claws into the wood of the top of the ship just to keep themselves from getting blown away. Quinn is standing up there majestically, arms out, right?
King of the world!
Right, his cape billowing in the actual winds. But he's, otherwise motionless, just like focusing all of his energy into, propelling this ship, while you can see the helmsman like rapidly adjusting the rudder for the speed that they're going at. This person is working like overtime. If based on just how fast this person's moving, you're not entirely convinced that they're not just three gnomes in a trench coat.
Look, they're allowed to be three gnomes in a trench coat if they want. We're not going to discriminate like that.
Jarrell...
But the winds up here are strong.
Right. Jarrell would try to lead his little party of 5 or 6 over to the least windy, like if there's any kind of covered area, and just kind of like
the covered area is below decks.
so that there's no like different levels on deck. Once you're on deck, it's just one.
There's the top level where you have the helm. You have
the most windy.
You have the captain's quarters, which is below the helm. He's got like the the nicest room in the ship, top separated from everybody else.
Mhm.
At the front, it raises up again, right? And there is like a smaller section in there. You're not sure if that's storage or whatever, but there is a room at the front of the ship as it crests up. But otherwise, it's pretty open. It's the deck of a ship.
If we go behind the captain's quarters, is that less windy?
There's no behind. It's like it's set into the raised platform. You have like the stairs that go up on either side, right? It flattens out. There's a chamber, and then above that chamber is the helm of the ship, where the rudder is, and Quinn and the helmsman. And then you have the sails, obviously.
So Jarrell will turn back to Zero. It seems they're struggling to keep a foot up here. Do you suggest we stay up here?
Zero now decides to gaze over the side of the ship and look out over the water very ponderously while taking another slow sip from his mug.
I love how we're just wandering around the ship with these two back and forth.
Everyone else around you is working.
I mean, Boris is going to look for a good spot for the dragons, so she goes to investigate whatever that random, room is on the other side of the top of the ship.
So yeah, you can feel storage room.
Right, and you can feel the wind like at your backs, like blowing you forward. Because like it's almost as if like this magic that Quinn is accessing is not only controlling the sea, but also like the winds are always in your favor. No matter which way this is steered, you just feel that the winds are just like
It's
always
good thing you
pushing
clarified
you guys
that.
in the direction you're going. Yes, it's
I
not
felt
pushing
like-
you back.
Right.
It's pushing you forward as soon as you come above.
Okay. Like inside of this separate storage room, is it just like a big open space in there that's walled off with no wind resistance, or?
You can see, I wouldn't say it's a big open space. It is packed with barrels and crates, and you can see that there's also, as you're walking towards, there's a couple areas on deck where it has like that, the latticed, almost like wooden cage or metal cage over certain sections where you can see there's storage a bit below as well in like certain decks that it may extend to outside of that room. But you can think this is probably where they store. There's probably various liquids stored in the barrels like rum and things like that. There's probably you can see that there's weapons here, as well as there's even some barrels that are marked with the skull and crossbones.
Jolly Roger.
This actually may contain some gunpowder for the cannons you had that are installed in this ship. This is like one of the other only uses of gunpowder that actually was existing before these firearms that you now have found, and the new one that Zero has in his possession. It was just that none of them were ever made to portable size. It was all just big cannons.
This room is fairly full, though. There's not like a lot of space in it to be able to say train.
Not a lot. And let me just reiterate: there's barrels full of gunpowder in here.
Yeah, but the dragons breathe ice. That's fine.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that is true.
So, it's Zero in his pondering. Did I hear that the topmost room was the captain's quarters? Like his private quarters up there, or is that the steering area?
The steering area is the top. Set into a room below it is the captain's quarters.
So if something were to go wrong there, it would only affect one other room on the ship instead of the entire ship.
It would also affect the helm, which is directly above the room.
Are you telling this to Jarrell? That we can go crash
Zero
Quinn's
is
room?
pondering this openly. I didn't give anyone permission to crash anyone's room. I'm just, just asking questions. As, internet trolls might do.
All right, Jarrell will look around. Do you think it's bigger than this?
Bigger than the open deck of the ship? Probably.
No, the storage room that we're in.
Oh,
kind of checking out.
Oh, did you come with me for that?
I was still pondering by looking over the side of the ship, glancing off at the waves, and being very profound.
Right.
Hedrick
So-
is finishing his solo. It sounds a lot like Eruption. And he hears this commotion. Boris is investigating this room, and he wants to at least join this discussion. He saw everybody come up to the deck, and he's like, "Okay, set's over."
Yeah.
If the room is full, maybe we could just get some of these deckhands here to unload it and put it in a different location. Let's make some space, people. We got a couple of days. I mean, shit, until we can get up to the airship with the hold of holding, we ain't gonna run these dragons through any sort of exercises. You just want to basically keep them from melting the ship apart or freezing up any components.
I was also considering that these barrels might work as a layer between the hull of the ship and the dragons. Like if they were to use their ice breath underneath in that storage room, they'd probably hit a couple barrels before they hit the...
Well, it would ruin our gunpowder. And I don't know about you, but a ship's only as good as its cannons.
Well, perhaps we get some of the gunpowder downstairs. We're going to probably be into battle soon anyway. And keep the rum here.
I can see Mike shaking his head because he knows he is powerless to stop this, as he requested no interruptions and trusted that his team would handle this.
Okay, don't throw this back at me. Like I can't understand anything that's happening. I'm in the wall of water right now.
No, I know. I'm just saying I see you, Michael, shaking your head.
Exactly.
Okay.
We can always put the gunpowder in Captain's room.
That's the idea I was about to put forward too, and I kind of really like this. Is he's going to be in the zone for the next few days. He's not going to have a lot of use for a nice extravagant room.
And we want to keep it close to the cannons.
Yeah, if it makes him feel any better, we'll store the rum in there too. It's what he would have wanted.
This is Mike's. Just remember that he has to rest at some point. Because he can't just go forever doing this.
Yeah, he can't do this for 3 days straight. He's going to have to go to sleep at some
when
point.
it happens, you'll have the rum in your room.
And a lot of gunpowder.
Because that can't possibly go wrong.
Guys, I think we got a plan.
Yeah.
And that is where I want to call this week's episode of the Hapless Heroes podcast.
This is what happens when you take Quinn out of conversations.
Uh-huh.
This is what happens.
But look, you have super special magical powers that
It's
can
not
get you
the
across
dragons. It's not the dragons I need to worry about exploding the ship. It's my team.
Yeah,
It's literally them. The dragons are who cares?
I'm not saying Boris isn't about to roll a barrel of gunpowder across the deck of the ship.
While it is going at ludicrous speeds, I might add. But we'll find out what happens next week. In the meantime, if you like us, you can find us on the internet. We're on such places as Twitter and Instagram at Hapless Heroes. We're also on Facebook and Reddit. Just look for Hapless Heroes Podcast. Really, all those places will point you to our main place that we really socialize on, our Discord server. You can meet, interact with us, talk to us about whatever is on your mind, about the show, or about, other nerdy things, or show us pictures of your awesome animals at home, whatever it is. We got a whole bunch of channels for you to have some really cool discussions in there, and a great community as well. And if you really like us, you could leave us a 5-star review on the podcast service of your choice. We really appreciate it. We love reading your kind words. And if reviews aren't your thing, but you still want to reach out to us in another way, you can also just email us, haplessheroes@gmail.com. Just would love to hear from you, and we'll say some nice things back to you on the air. Now, if you really, really like us, you could donate to our Patreon. It's just patreon.com/haplessheroes. We have a great array of rewards, everything from just shiny rolls in our Discord server and like bloopers and behind the scenes audio and the contents of James's notebook from like the first 100 episodes of the show. Whole bunch of stuff's on there. Including, as you heard from the last 2 episodes, one of our listeners had donated to at a level where we were able to get him, as a guest on the show for a pair of episodes for you guys and create the wonderful, wacky situation that Hedrick had to return to today.
Thanks, Joe. Sorry I missed you.
But yeah, really, we just appreciated that any of you think that we're worth your hard-earned dollars. We promise that all that money goes right back into the show and to try to make it as entertaining as possible for you to listen to for years on end.
This one works best for the fellas, but could also be for the ladies as well. So feel free to try this at home. If you really, 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 really love us, you're in the Sally field, you're all by yourself, and you're struck with inspiration. Hairstyle.
I have questions. Okay, never mind.
I don't want to be in Sally Field.
You're in the Sally field. You're loving life.
No, thank you. She seems like a nice lady and all, but no, thank you.
The wind is blowing. You can almost hear an echo from the mountains around you. It's picturesque, and you're struck by inspiration. Hairstyle. It's very definitive. It describes you as a person. It's very expression. It's part of you. For the men, you can grow a luscious beard and shave that beard on the sides and in the center of your lip and below the soul patch, creating a perfectly formed H pattern on the front of your face, just below your mouth. That, of course, will spark plenty of conversation in which you're welcome to share about our lovely Hapless Heroes podcast. And for the ladies, I'm afraid you will have to shave the back of your head and put a wonderful, beauteous H. You can actually let your hair hang down and make the H extra long and be an uppercase H. And everyone will be talking about it.
Bonus points if you shave the entirety of the words Hapless Heroes into your beard or the side or back of your head.
Well, that would be exceptional. If you really, that's if you're just enamored, truly in love with us.
Sally Fields and the whole deal.
Sure.
Or in her, apparently.
The Sally Field.
I am so sorry, Reinhard, for what you have to transcribe there, but good luck, bud. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and outro our cast, starting on my virtual right now with John as Lord Jarrell the Light.
Until next time.
Phil as Hedrick the Entertainer.
I feel like I've heard my own voice for the first time, and it's beautiful.
Nicole as Boris the Butcher.
Well, since Captain's busy, I guess I'll just get this door open.
And Mike as Lord and Captain Quinn Southwind.
On the outside, you hear nothing, but on the inside, I'm screaming, I am the sea god!
And Dave as Zero, Valen's Avatar of War.
What if I am really the world's greatest dragon handler?
And I'm Francesco. I've been your host and DM. We'll see you next week. I love you. Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.